This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Welcome in, everybody. Wednesday edition of a numbers game here on VSiN. I'm Ben Wilson in one more day for Gil Alexander. Kelly Bidlin, as always, holds down support for us at our Circus Sportsbook studio downtown Las Vegas. A lot of good action last night between the Jimmy V Classic and college basketball, Kelly. We had the NBA Cup. We've got some Major League Baseball winter meeting news to get to. I'm sorry my hometown Milwaukee Bucks could not cover for you. I mean, they were in danger of losing the game last night, but the Bucks and the Thunder advanced to your NBA Cup semifinals. And if it were not for Jalen Suggs, you kind of have to give him credit, right, Kelly? Herculean effort to get the Magic almost across the finish line there last night in Milwaukee.
Yeah, they easily could have won that game. Incredible effort from Orlando. Milwaukee came out of the gates looking like they were just expecting to walk into the next round. And the Magic, man, just like they've been doing all year, playing tough basketball, forcing turnovers, pressuring them on defense. They looked really good. And then that third quarter finally looked like things were going to start to go our way. They dropped like 13 points in it. Offense finally started to slow down. And then, yeah, Jalen Suggs in the fourth, man. What was it, 18, 20, whatever he finished with? Incredible fourth quarter from him last night that prevented, yes, the cover from getting home. You're right, they easily could have lost the game. I did get it in on a live bet in the second quarter on Milwaukee, which was a miracle cover at 4.5. Yeah, 114.
Down 3 with a minute to go.
Yeah. Yeah, down 3 with a minute to go. That's a lucky cover. So I'll take that one. But look, I try to be honest as we can about our bets. Got in on Milwaukee live. I had OKC last night. That got home. Still didn't come close to break even. That's how loaded up I was on Milwaukee pregame. So, bad night. The Cowboys are here in Vegas. They're all over the place. They're screwing up my coffee routine, so I'm a little upset this morning, Ben, all right? Lost money yesterday, and I can't get coffee. Drinking energy drinks. These are a PM drink. This is a PM drink. AM, I need coffee.
Well, your issue is you need to throw in the 20 rider rodeo parlays like we used to do back in the day, purely based on name. I think that's what would get the mojo in the correct direction for you.
That's right. Yeah, we need a solid bull riding handicap at some point this week. Yeah,
I think that'd be great. I think that would be great. I don't know if we'll get that from our guest today, but we do have some great guests coming up. If anybody of the three you would handicap, probably Jason Weingarten would be your favorite in the clubhouse to have some rodeo handicapping. Jason will join us at our second hour, 11:15 a.m. Eastern time. He'll have a lot of thoughts on all the Major League Baseball moves that have happened over the last couple of days, as well as the Army-Navy game, which is the one college football game this week. He is after. Jonathan Von Tobel will join us to talk about the NBA Cup, a couple games tonight, as well as some college football playoff thoughts and NFL Week 15 JVT in an hour at 11 Eastern. And to kick off our guests, we'll go to Jim Root, a fellow Wisconsinite, Kelly. I love how whenever I'm on, you just load it up with friendly Midwesterners. Jim Root from the Three-Man Weave will join us. It was an interesting night, to say the least, in college basketball last night. He comes up at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. So you get the Magic. They battle hard. Bucks do get the win. Bucks are short now. They're plus 270 to win the NBA Cup. The bet that we were talking about yesterday, that I at least felt like was reasonable to take a small piece in, Giannis Antetokounmpo to be NBA Cup MVP at near 6-1. That is down to I believe plus 350 as of last check. And on the other side, it's sort of funny though. You're watching that game last night. Bucks pull it out, and then you watch the second game, and I'm like, it's really going to be fun when the Bucks find a way to get to the finals, and then just get steamrolled by OKC, because this Thunder team that after the super hot start to the year, maybe it cooled off a little bit, but last night in this true tournament win in advance format, I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just went to another level, and a Dallas team that had been arguably the hottest, I would say, Kelly, over the last 3 weeks or so in the NBA, 9-1 in their last 10. I had zero answer as the Thunder win comfortably and cover. Total goes under, and they are now the short shots here to win the NBA Cup. And SGA, your short shot to win Cup MVP at 2-1.
Yeah, I think no surprise there on either one of those. They should be favored. He should be favored in that market, at least. Even after whatever happens today, I would probably still say the same thing. They'll be favored. He should be favored there. It was impressive. We talked about it yesterday. Mavericks have kind of owned this team a little bit here recently, and I think this is a rivalry we're going to see only grow from here over the next several years with SGA and Luka Doncic on these teams, and two of the top top two names you got to be on the lookout for MVP this year as far as who do the voters kind of want to give this award to. They're next up. Jokic obviously doing crazy things this year and is won it 3 times already. They're going to be the next names up, though, when we talk about who could win MVP. Heck of a game, like you said, though, from the Thunder, man. They really were all over the Mavericks from start to finish in this game, holding Luka Doncic to 16 points on 5 of 15 shooting, holding Kyrie Irving back a little bit. You usually see one of those guys, if one of them gets held back, usually the other one is able to have some room to operate. You just didn't see that last night. I think my biggest takeaway from this game, though, Ben, was something we had seen in the past with the Mavericks with these bigs, the rotation of bigs with Gafford and Lively that they have, really be able to capitalize on that and punish Oklahoma City for having a little bit smaller lineup. You add Isaiah Hartenstein in there this year, and he finishes with, 13 rebounds last night. You just look at total rebounding overall, 52-44 advantage for OKC. That was really big in a game last night. And then SGA playing like an MVP in that game, dropping 39 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Great game for the Thunder. And I think just honestly a big mental win, as much as we want to, as big of a deal or little a deal as you want to make out of the NBA Cup, for this kind of win in a game of somewhat significance between these two teams going forward is big.
And now you look at where OKC goes from here, and not only in the NBA Cup, Kelly, but something we've been at least noticing is the futures in general, and it's something we wanted to hit on as well, because now you're sitting here, SGA, your second favorite behind Nikola Jokic, 3-1. Giannis, by the way, plus 750. Third overall. We didn't really get a chance to talk about this in depth on Monday. You had this as a bet. We kind of threw it in at the end of the show since we were so heavy NFL. But I was just thinking last night watching Jalen Williams. It was a solid game. And for OKC, he is your plus 150 most improved favorite right now. But you have a bet in that market which has just come tumbling down. And there's also been a lot of injuries here that have impacted that as well throughout the course of the last couple of weeks or so. So that and Tyler Hero we're talking about is now 7-1 at least in that most improved market, which I was totally I did not have any action in. I was not aware of the sort of pricing that you got. I saw it Monday. I'm like, oh, that seems like a nice long shot. And I look up at my odds screen and I'm like, wait. This guy's 7-1 now. You got him at what, over 50-1?
Yeah, 55-1 on Sunday, I believe it was. Sunday night, he really got steamed. As a shout out to Michael Montesano. He's been on Numbers Game multiple times here before. He and I will exchange texts. I love talking most improved players. My favorite award to bet, I think, in any sport is most improved player in the NBA. I think there's a little bit clearer path to what these winners usually are. It's a little bit easier to figure out. But man, you've seen the odds in this awards market bounce around all season long. And I think we're going to talk some MVP too. You're just trying to pick off some longer numbers right now at this time of year when so much of this is so up in the air with the top of the board. Yes, I think the two Jalens belong there as the favorites, but after that, you can start making a lot of arguments for some guys. So yeah, Hero, I mean, look, he's up about 3 points per game from last season. There's all these questions about what Jimmy Butler's future is going to be with the team. I think if he gets shipped out, you're really going to see Tyler Hero become kind of the go-to offensive player in Miami, if he's not there already. And that's a big deal for a team that might be contending for a playoff spot. So 7-1, look, yes, like you said, I got it 55 on Sunday. 55-7 is a massive difference. I don't know if I'd be running to bet it at 7-1. We could bring up a third Orlando Magic player in this award market since the beginning of the season, but Jalen Suggs is a guy that I've considered betting in this multiple times, and after last night, you can really see what he can do. And he's going to have these games without Franz, without Banchero, where he can rack up some stats. So if you are looking to get in on something right now where a number is going to likely drop going forward, it'd probably be Jalen Suggs, is what I tell you.
An opportunity is right there when you think about Franz Wagner out weeks. We still don't know when Paolo Banchero is set to return. So that's your two top guys for Orlando. And this is 2 games now, 2 covers for the Magic without their 2 top stars. With the Wagner news coming out over the weekend, and Suggs has been awesome in both of those games, really carrying the Magic to an upset win over Phoenix over the weekend, and almost pulled off the upset last night over Milwaukee. And it's funny with the Heat thing, and this is where it comes into your Tyler Hero bet. I think we all watched how the start of the year played out and went, all right, this is finally the year where we can get rid of the whole Heat culture BS talk. This team's just been a dumpster fire. But at least it's funny. The last 10 games, they're kind of out of sight, out of mind, and here they are. They're a top 7 in net rating. The last 10, they've won 7 of 10. So I was looking at some look-ahead markets for tomorrow. I was tempted to maybe look at the Raptors here catching a huge number, and then I'm kind of looking deeper. I'm like, wait, Heat are actually playing really good basketball right now. I'm not sure that given how shorthanded the Raptors are, I want to step in front of that. But it is interesting how this Heat team that we have loved to rip analytically for the last couple of years, because they just find weird ways to win tangentially and do things that don't make a whole lot of sense. And yet here they are. They have shown a little bit of life here, Kelly, and I wonder how much of that has to do with the hero resurgence as well in that MIP market.
Yeah, there's that. Jimmy Butler, playing some games again. And look, Bam Adebayo, once again, as he's been doing for the past several seasons, flying under the radar as one of the best defensive players in the league. I mean, you could argue this is where, I know last year we got in these heavy defensive player of the year arguments with Bam Adebayo. I'm on that side of, I don't really know that he's ever going to get there, or if he does, it's going to be in a down year for the rest of the league. It's just so tough when you're asking these voters to value rim protection, blocks, steals, things like that, versus a guy like Bam Adebayo who can kind of guard 1 through 5, kind of does on a nightly basis, whether you're seeing it or not, and does so at such a high efficient level, but you're just not seeing some of the counting stats out of him that you're going to see from some of these other guys, like Rudy Gobert for years, right? Is always a classic example with how many blocks and then for whatever reason defensive rebounds he's getting per game would seem to matter so much more in this market. So, not a bet I'm running out to making that one, but he's such a key to this team, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Jimmy Butler. It would be an opportunity to try to get one kind of new look team, one more version for Pat Riley, and see if he can do something with it here.
I love your bet, though. I'm going to be rooting for it for you on your behalf. Tyler Hero, pride of Greenfield, Wisconsin. Let's go. Greenfield, yeah. The Greenfield Hawks, I believe, the high school there in Greenfield, Wisconsin. Alas, we still have a lot to get to on the show today. We'll talk some of the Major League Baseball news and notes. The big one, Max Fried, giant contract for the lefty going to the New York Yankees. We'll talk about that with Jason Weingarten a little bit later. But up next, college football playoff. It's Win Total Wednesdays. We'll talk some win totals out there for the teams that are in the 12-team field as we're just getting started here on A Numbers Game.
Here are 3 reasons ZYN is America's #1 nicotine pouch. We use food-grade ingredients. We have a wide selection of varieties, and they all come in 2 strengths. Find ZYN at a store near you.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Wednesday on Follow the Money, Rich Gannon, Sal Pal, spirits educator and mixologist J.R. Starkus in studio. New Year's Eve questions, parties, plans. He's going to make a drink in studio. Follow the Money weekdays 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole 9, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This segment of A Numbers Game is brought to you by ZYN nicotine pouches. There's only one number one draft pick. There's only one champion at the end of the season. And there's only one nicotine pouch brand in America that outsells the rest, and that is ZYN. ZYN is a smoke-free, spit-free, hassle-free nicotine pouch that can be enjoyed anywhere, anytime. Find your ZYN at ZYN.com. That's ZYN.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
We are just underway, Wednesday edition of A Numbers Game. We'll talk some college basketball with our guy Jim Root from the Three-Man Weave in about 15 minutes. One more thought, though, Kelly. We were talking NBA to open the show here. And MVP market, we mentioned the second and third guys who were both on the winning teams last night. SGA of OKC, 3-1. Giannis Antetokounmpo, plus 750. But there's another guy. It's the Luka Doncic angle here. And I've been looking to find angles for Dallas. They actually slipped to plus 150 to win their division. I believe they're a half game back of Houston now with a lot of time left in the season. That's the one I'm intrigued on as far as an in-season future. But Doncic here at MVP, that is at least close to triggering a bet for you, it sounds like.
It already has. I bet him last week at 17 to 1, and this is like we talked about with most improved. Most improved, you're kind of trying to feel out what the players are going to look like on these teams, and then also compare to the odds. With MVP, we kind of know heading into the season, okay, what group of players really has a good shot at winning this, and I really think it's in today's NBA, we're talking about 4 or 5 players with actually a legit chance of winning this award every single season, just because of what the other guys that are in that group and what they have to contend with. Luka Doncic, and MVP is much more of a narrative award too. We kind of go into the season expecting some guys to be there at the end and to be in this conversation, and Luka Doncic has been there for the past couple years, and it's been Nikola Jokic keeping him away a couple times, and there could be some other competition for him now, but you see him anything over 10 to 1. I think right now, if you're looking to get involved, is a good bet. I got him at 17, but this time of year, this is what you're trying to do. Giannis at plus 750 right now. Just a couple weeks ago, I got him at 35 to 1 was as far as where he had dipped to. So yeah, I would love to have a portfolio that has SGA, Giannis, and Luka. That's what I'm ideally looking to do. We talked a little bit about it with Drew yesterday. I can't remember if it was on air or off air. Jokic has been absolutely amazing. Of course, if he keeps putting up these kind of numbers, he's going to win this award again. It's not even going to matter about how many times he's won it before at this point. His numbers are so ludicrous right now. But we talked about with Drew, is he going to be able to continue this throughout the entirety of the season? And I have questions over that. Meanwhile, I think Luka Doncic, you're playing on the second best team, or one of the top 2 teams in the Western Conference, in my opinion, in Dallas. Expect the wins to be up there for him, and then the stats that he's putting up, he might be dragging a little bit from where we've seen in seasons past. That slow starts for Luka, though, is nothing especially new. He's still 4th in estimated plus minus over at dunks and threes. I love looking at that for individual player awards. 28.1 points per game. It's still 6th in the NBA. You only expect that to go up. He's over 8 rebounds. He's at 8 assists a game. He's over 2 steals a game, which is actually kind of impressive for Luka Doncic. So I think right now this is about making a bet and seeing where it's going to play out come May, June, that time of year. I think a double-digit bet right now, Luka Doncic is a good one.
Well, you think about the angle on Nikola Jokic as well that people might not realize just because you watch how dynamic he's been. The productivity has been awesome so far. Jokic has never played more than 34.5 minutes, or has never averaged more than 34.5 minutes played per game in a season. Yeah. He is at 37.6. I realize that might not sound like a lot. That's 3 minutes. But that adds up over the course of an 82-game season. The amount that Denver's relying on him, it has resulted in tremendous stats. And
for a guy who doesn't really
extrapolate it out,
for a guy who doesn't really miss games, right? Like that's why his minutes are usually in that range, because he doesn't want to be that guy who's taking 20 games off during the season. And I don't expect him to. I think it's a great point on the minutes, Ben, because that's what's being required out of him right now for Denver. Jamal Murray is not the same player that he once was. KCP is gone. For Denver to compete, Nikola Jokic has to be that good right now, and I don't think it's realistic to expect those kind of minutes, that kind of production to continue throughout the course of the season. But it is Nikola Jokic; he's the best player in the NBA.
And if there's someone who could do it, I mean, he wouldn't put it past him. We'll put it that way. He also has never averaged more than 18 field goal attempts per game in a season. He's at about 22, so the usage has gone up tremendously, and that's not a surprise. And you talk about how many more minutes he is playing. Good discussion here on NBA MVP, but it is Win Total Wednesdays, Kelly, after all. Fun segment. Let's get to it right now.
Are the guys looking over or under? It's another edition of Win Total Wednesday on a numbers game.
All right, Win Total Wednesdays, and a reminder that finding value in college football playoff win totals might be hard, but hiring Morgan Morgan is easy. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is so easy. Check them out if you are ever injured. It is forthepeople.com/bestbets, forthepeople.com/bestbets, or pound law, pound 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement. As we're mixing it up a little bit this week, Kelly. We are not doing NFL win totals per se, but college football playoff win totals. Fascinating market posted by a couple of books. We've been looking at some of these DraftKings numbers, and it's interesting. Since these have been open, they've changed a little bit the verbiage. So if you're looking at it now, what you'll see if you go to that menu is it's actually yes or no to make the college football playoff semi. But before that, some of these teams, it was either 1.5 on the win total or a half. Yeah. And that's based. So it's essentially the same thing here, but that's what we've got.
And
now.
Ben, we don't know that they're not coming back. DraftKings also does this a fair amount. They'll pull down a market. I have a feeling that's probably been bet into a fair amount. They'll pull it down for a bit. Adjust some numbers, then put it back up. Sometimes that takes a while. So these win totals could be back up. I think you're right, though. I think they probably just chose to replace it with yes/nos on the semifinals. But a lot of the odds still the same.
That was a very impressive Dan Deerdorfian double negative, Kelly. I'm not so sure that they're not going to repost. That was as a broadcast nerd. That was Deerdorf. That was a Deerdorf special on the NFL on CBS.
That's what I'm here for. English major, Florida State University.
You know what? You were just trying to pay homage to a great on the NFL broadcasting lexicon. There's one that really jumps out to me, and it's more that I'm surprised you're not having to pay somewhat of a tax for the possibility of a specific matchup, and that is Oregon. I love Oregon in the market that we're being offered right here. It's over a half win, so it's Oregon to make the college football playoff semi. They are the 1 seed. They are already into the quarterfinals. They've gotten that part taken care of. They face the winner of Ohio State and Tennessee playing in the 8-9 game this week. Oregon just mathematically should be priced higher than they currently are. They are minus 130. If you go ahead and look at the look-ahead numbers that DraftKings is currently posting, and there are other shops that are posting these too, it is right now Ohio State and Oregon who would meet on a neutral in the quarterfinals. Oregon's minus 1.5. So that generally comes out to you'll be looking at the minus 125, minus 130 range for a money line. What that is telling you, this price, Oregon to make the college football playoff semi, is essentially that they will be facing Ohio State. And if you want to bet Oregon, you are basically betting Oregon to beat Ohio State. You obviously only want to do this if you have pretty good conviction and a good feeling that Oregon would beat Ohio State, which I do. But that's only part of the point here, Kelly. It's the fact that Ohio State has not yet beaten Tennessee. And while they are likely favored to do so, they're 7.5-point favorites. Implied probability gives them a very, very good chance of winning that game. But it is not close to 100%. And the look-ahead lines are also out for Tennessee and Oregon, what that potential matchup would look like. If Tennessee somehow goes into the horseshoe, pulls off the outright upset, Oregon would be a 6.5-point favorite. That correlates on the money line. You're looking more like a $3 favorite now to make the college football playoff semifinal. It's wild that you are not being forced to pay any sort of tax for the mere possibility, which is clearly greater than 0%, that it could be a Tennessee and Oregon college football playoff quarterfinal. That to me is enough to say, like, what is going to change between now and December, and December 28th and into the new year, even if Ohio State beats Tennessee in this game, that would want to keep me off betting the Oregon side regardless of it's an Oregon and Ohio State matchup. So why not lock it in now? And if the upset happens in Tennessee's case, now you're getting an unbelievable price on Oregon to make the semis.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. That is the we were discussing it off air, but it is really, since kind of legalization and all these sports books that have been added, it's all these markets that they try to add. They're so fun for us to talk about. There's value in some of them. We always talk about shopping numbers from shop to shop. Shop within the same book, because like you're talking about, you're using the same book's numbers and comparing the prices on these and finding value in one of these prop markets. I think it's awesome. That was kind of the one of the ones that we first locked into. It was interesting to see the games and teams that they chose to post a half versus 1.5, because I don't think it always made sense, Ben, of which teams they did that with. I think the other one, as you're talking, obviously this is not for all bankrolls out there, but Tennessee under 1.5, like that is I know it's minus 1,400, but we're kind of talking to the same same sort of realm here, right? It's Ohio State, and then you're talking about going on to play Oregon. So
it's a big ask.
Yeah, that's a big ask. And same thing, if you're just comparing what money lines are going to be, you're going to get value on that number. I know it's absurd. Minus 1,400 is not something we regularly do or talk about on this show, but I just think there's not even Oregon. You can look at those same kind of matchups and find some value.
Yeah. If there's one, too, you'd want to lay a price. Like, I get that there's a lot of negativity around Texas, but, I mean, you're 11-point favorites against Clemson. You would be 11.5 against Arizona State. I mean, minus 205, that also feels a touch light on Texas to make the semi. We'll talk more colleges, but this time on the college basketball with our guy Jim Root from the Three-Man Weave coming up next.
And they're off.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Are you the type of player who's looking to get down $10,000 or more on NFL lines at the best price in the market? Or perhaps you're looking to get your in-game play instantly accepted. Introducing Sport Trade, the app that's going to change sports betting. Minus 104 lines instead of the typical minus 110. Instant in-game betting and a concierge player service. Perfect for those who want a premium betting experience. Now live in New Jersey, Colorado, Iowa, Arizona, and Virginia. Download Sport Trade and use code VSiN to earn 10% cash back on each wager in your first week. Terms apply. As we are back, it's a numbers game on this wonderful Wednesday morning. Kelly Bidlin from downtown Las Vegas, our Circus Sportsbook studios. I'm Ben Wilson. We go out to our progressive guest line right now after a very fun night in the college hoops last night, Kelly, at the Jimmy V Classic. Well, upset Arkansas pulls off a big win over Michigan. And we go out to our guy, Jim Root from the Three-Man Weave, fellow Wisconsinite, who was correcting me in the break, my high school regional knowledge. Tyler Hero, a Whitnall Falcon, and
embarrassed the whole show, Ben. Gosh.
Jim a way better basketball player than I back in the days. He was in the same conference, so you would know, Jim. You would. Welcome to the show, man. Great to have you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Good to talk hoops. I mean, my claim to fame from growing up is playing against J.J. Watt in football and nearly dislocating my shoulder tackling him. So it was a pretty prominent conference. There were some good players up there in Wisconsin.
Dude, Wisconsin, Kelly. I mean, you're from Florida, so you've got this different. You think, I'm sure, like, okay, Florida, it's just a powerhouse of producing talent. Wisconsin is built different. I mean, there's some guys that come out there. I mean, it's a lot of time on the farm, getting country strong. And I'm glad you're at least standing, Jim, because I can't imagine facing.
I was gonna say I'd be making business decisions if I saw J.J. Watt running at me. Are you kidding me? I'd be, my shoes untied. I fell over. Oops.
Did they have the shield?
He wasn't running at me. I had him lined up to blindside him, and he still dislocated my shoulder.
I wonder what was going through young Jim Root's head as he went to try and blindside the pre-NFL J.J. Watt. Well, like what Jim and I share, that very, very unique thing in common here, both from Wisconsin. Both are University of Missouri alumni. Did you get it? Was there any emotion, Jim? A little tears falling? Was Mizzou? You and I were both at that game. What, 12 years ago now? 12 years ago now, when Missouri and Kansas faced off for the final time in Columbia as Big 12 rivals. We weren't sure if we'd ever see it again. Well, they faced off, and Mizzou gets the upset win on Sunday. They stormed the court, and there's a lot of questions now. People asking what's wrong with Kansas here, but that was a moment of nostalgia. I especially felt watching that thing on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, we've got that rivalry revitalized the last few years, and it's just been completely one-sided. Kansas has dominated. But I think the secret sauce, and you mentioned Arkansas getting the big win last night. Kansas played an SEC team. What are they going to do? It's SEC basketball this year. They're completely dominant in basically every challenge you put them against. The overall record is ridiculous. People that are doing bracketology right now have like 12 teams in them. Obviously, that's probably not going to last when they start playing each other and accumulating more losses. But the non-conference performance has been incredible out of that league. And Mizzou over Kansas and Arkansas over Michigan just continuing to add to that right now.
Is Kansas there? I'm looking at early bracketology already. 3 seed as it stands right now. Are they destined to be that sort of team that Bill Self has had in the past? That's like, a week 3 or 4 that gets seated high just because the committee has so much respect for them, and they end up facing, what was it, the Bucknell year or the Bradley year. There's been a couple of them where Kansas was probably getting too much respect by the committee, and bettors kind of saw that and picked them off. Or do you see there still being a path forward here for KU once they get into Big 12 play, once they're a little more comfortable in that sort of setting to right the ship a little bit here?
Yeah, I think there's a path for them. They had a weirdly unengaged early effort against Mizzou. I don't know what that was all about, but we've seen them perform at a very high level. Some of the wins that they've already pulled off this year, the UNC win at home, and then, of course, the Duke win on a neutral court, that even after Dickinson went out, they were able to hold up and secure that one late. So I think we've seen that high upside from them. And as they get into Big 12 play, and they've just got to figure out the complementary scoring, because right now teams are making DeJuan Harris score or KJ Adams score, and that's not really what those guys want to do. And it's not really the way the team was designed. It should be Rylan Griffin and AJ Storr and Zeke Mayo. Those guys have had some ups and down stretches trying to figure out their roles in that offense. The fortunate thing for Jayhawk fans is that Bill Self's in charge, and he is one of the best coaches in the country, and he's going to figure that out. I think it's just a little bit of a trial and error, sort of figure it out as they go, how they complement Dickinson and Harris and Adams and fitting those new pieces in. I think they will get there and be a rather strong 2 or 3 seed whenever it's all said and done.
Yeah, dip now to 17-1 there for KU as we're joined by Jim Root from the 3-Man Weave. Give him a follow at Second Chance Points. The one other team want to get your take on before we get into some of your bets for today. Wisconsin, never liked by the computers. That's not a shock once again this year. But curious your thoughts on a team that started off so strong. They get this resurgent season from Jean Tangier, who former Mizzou guy, just never put it together, was injured, banged up all of last year. But back-to-back really tight losses. The 2 of them were in Big Ten play. Michigan and Illinois last night had a great first half, just got blown out of the water by Cam Jones and Marquette over the weekend here. What do you make of a Badger team that seems to lack a little bit of depth? But, I mean, Tangier's been unbelievably impressive when he's been able to stay on the floor this year.
Yeah, it's just kind of an overall talent question. It was coming into the year with Wisconsin was, all right, how good actually is this roster and where can they actually go? And they've had some guys be bigger contributors than expected. I think Nolan Winter's taken a tiny step, and Tangier being a star has kind of changed everything about role allocation. It's like, all right, now John Blackwell can be the number 2. Stephen Crowell can continue being a complimentary guy that hits shots and can pass out of the post. Having a star has realigned maybe what their expectations are. But yeah, that rough early start to Big Ten play, a home loss at Michigan really hurts. The Kohl Center, typically a place where they're able to get big wins, and Big Ten home court is always strong. I think they're probably going to float along the middle of the pack there. They'll steal a couple on the road. It's just a different team now. They play a little faster. They're way more offensive focused. As a bettor, I've been like, I can't believe I'm confidently betting Wisconsin overs and winning them comfortably, but that's the day we're living in right now with the way Guard has sort of modernized the attack.
Sure thing. Yes, it has been a little bit weird aesthetically to watch the shift in Wisconsin basketball identity. Needless to say, over the last few years. All right, Jim, let's get to some of your best bets for today. I love that you are going to, I call it my conference, the WAC, where I get to call all the conference tournament games. For me, it's highlight of my broadcast season. There's always craziness that goes on in the WAC tournament, and you are looking to a team in the WAC. It's a non-con game, California Baptist, the Lancers. Injury-riddled last year, getting a great season from Dominique Daniels, and they go to San Diego State tonight, catching 15. I don't know if this was contractually obligated, Jim, but I love that you're bringing up a WAC team here with me on the show today.
Oh, of course. I had to shoehorn it in here. No, I love Cal Baptist. I've loved them since the start of the season. I just thought they had the right pieces. And last year, Daniels got hurt. As you mentioned, he's their key point guard, floor leader. Without him, they kind of tumble off a cliff. But they've got some interior scorers with Brown and Coleman. And really, this is kind of a general narrative. We'll see this with one of my other picks, too. This being finals week, and your favorites at home maybe aren't as motivated as they would be in the home opener or a conference opener. You get these non-conference games that feel a little like, all right, let's just get the win. Let's get across the finish line. You saw it with Duke last night against Incarnate Word, a rather unimpressive effort. But so I'm taking Cal Baptist here, going to San Diego State. I think 15 is a little too many for a dog that has talent, and I just don't know that this is going to be a hyper-engaged San Diego State team where they're not ready to blow out a capable dog by 25 or whatever. So that's one pick, and then, yeah, as we get into some of the others, I think that narrative will come up again.
Sure thing. Yeah, Rick Croy, head coach for CBU, longtime head coach there for the Lancers, one of the most respected, long-tenured mid-major coaches out there as well. Yeah, we get the Indiana Directional School battle, the formerly known IUPUI Jaguars, now IU Indy, taking on IPFW. Little Jaguars Mastodons breakdown here, Jim, which we always love on a Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, Horizon League. So I guess this one doesn't quite fit what I'm saying as a narrative because this is a conference game. This does matter a little more for Purdue-Fort Wayne than it would be for a typical favorite at home laying 15. But this is more about IU Indy to me, a team that has been circling the drain of Division I the last few years, like bottom 3 in the country. But they brought in a new coach. IU Indy hired U Indy's coach, try to follow that, Division II, University of Indianapolis. And that's kind of galvanized the program a little bit. They brought some players from U Indy, and those guys have created a little bit of a core with some continuity from last year. They struggled a little bit out of the gate because this team isn't overly athletic, But getting into conference play, I don't think they're going to get overwhelmed by teams. So getting 15 there with IU Indy against Fort Wayne, I think is a good spot.
Perfect. Then we're looking over in Fresno State, BYU. BYU off the A.J. DeBonsa news. The first ever 5-star recruit going to BYU. How about that for the Cougs?
Yeah, they dug deep into the pockets for that one. So congratulations to them, to BYU. But yeah, I like this against Fresno, a team that wants to get up and down. They hired Vance Wahlberg this offseason, a coach that used to be at Pepperdine and then was in the high school ranks, the inventor of the dribble drive motion. They really ping pong back and forth up the floor. And I think BYU, off that loss to Providence in the Big East Big 12 battle, is going to be more than content to try to run up the score here, score a ton of points, and run with Fresno. So high possession count, high efficiency game up in that elevation.
Great stuff. He's Jim Root from the 3-Man Weave. Always a pleasure, man, catching up with you. Be well. Best of luck here with the plays tonight.
Cheers. Thanks, Ben. Good to talk to you.
Absolutely. The fellow Wisconsinite Mizzou alum, Jim Root, crosses off multiple boxes here on the ANG bingo. We'll come back, talk a little NBA Cup for tonight. How about some NFL awards? We'll do that on the other side of the numbers game.
Got a good thing coming, so wait and see. It's a good.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Oh, yes, it is that time of year where we talk Omaha Steaks, because nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. It's guaranteed perfection in every single bite. And right now, you can save on unforgettable gifts with 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com, plus score an extra $30 off with the promo code NUMBERS. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages featuring gourmet favorites, legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more. Save 50% off site-wide for limited time at omahasteaks.com and use promo code NUMBERS to get $30 off, extra 50% off at omahasteaks.com with the promo code NUMBERS. As we're back, a numbers game, first guest of the day in the books. Big thanks to Jim Root talking some college hoops with us here from the three-man weave. Still to come, Jonathan Von Tobel on the NBA Cup, some college football playoff, maybe NFL thoughts. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll have Jason Weingarten in a half hour to talk some of the big moves over the last couple days in the Major League Baseball. They still calling it the hot stove season, Kelly?
Good question. We should have asked Paul Carr that yesterday when he was down at winter meetings. Doing work for his real job. We always forget about that. We just bug him to come on here and talk about soccer. He does so much work with True Media Sports down there. We've got questions loaded up for Jason. I got a lot of tweet submitted questions for Jason. We need an update on the claw machine, his claw machine empire. So it'll be good. He said he's got a couple bets he wants to discuss. Army Navy this weekend. I think he's got something in. So yeah, it'll be a lot to hit on with Jason.
Sorry, I was too busy talking to Paul about fixture congestion yesterday.
That's right. That's where you lost me. Yeah, fixture congestion.
We should have done a better job there. Well, we had the 2 NBA Cup games last night, first 2, and unfortunately, I'm a little curious why it was staggered that you had 1 East and 1 West, and now 1 East and 1 West tonight, since you'll now have somewhat of a rest disadvantage. Granted, there's time to recover. This is not till Saturday that they'll come out to Vegas for the NBA Cup semifinals on the neutral floor. But I'm more just selfishly because I would have loved to have seen an opening number on one of the games for the semifinals today. But alas, we do get the other 2 games going on today here, Kelly. And when looking at the updated lines, we have seen some money come in. It was early Atlanta money. Knicks opened 8.5-point favorites. This is Knicks hosting the Hawks tonight. This got down as low as I saw 6.5, and now we are pretty aggressively back up here, 7.5 market wide. Couple of books touching 8 now. And as much as my initial thought was, man, Atlanta's been playing really, really hard against kind of a spotty defensive team in the Knicks to be catching this many points in a legit playoff type setting of the NBA Cup. The more you break down the numbers, though, it's really hard for me I couldn't totally get there with how the Knicks have been just playing elite on the offensive side of the ball. Number 1 offensive rating over the last 15 games. Seems like they are really coming into form offensively. And while I do have questions on the defensive end, still for the Knicks, was not enough to trigger a bet for me on that one tonight.
Yeah, this is just kind of going off my numbers and stuff that I look at, Ben. I think this is probably the line of all 4 games that was the most off to me, because I have the Knicks well into double digits favored. The problem
I get it purely numbers wise. It makes total sense. It's just something about this Atlanta team, man. It makes people want to gravitate toward them.
Well, and it's something about this Atlanta team, right? It's been a couple years of this now, but this season really sums it up well. Yes, they have improved defensively. The pieces that they've added, or in the case of Jalen Johnson, the pieces that have come on for them have been great. I think it's going to be a fun team to watch here throughout the course of the regular season. But you're talking about a team that has beaten the Celtics, the Cavs twice, and the Bucks, but then the Washington Wizards have 3 wins on the season. That's it. They're terrible. The worst team in the NBA. 2 of them are against the Atlanta Hawks. So, tell me what this team is, Ben. I don't really know. It's a team that I've been high on just in general over the past 3-4 years. But yeah, as far as betting this game tonight, I kept coming back to it, man. I've seen this Atlanta team show up in different times this year. I did not expect it. I've seen them look terrible at times. I was not expecting it. So I'm not going to get in front of anything pregame with this. I think Knicks will look to jump in game if there's an opportunity like last night in Milwaukee that opens up. Atlanta gets out to a hot early start. I think you always want to look past the first quarter. You'll see that the adjustment in the in-game pregame market, a bigger adjustment once you get into that second quarter, further away from what those pregame numbers are. So I usually wait for those first couple timeouts and commercial breaks in that second quarter. That's kind of ideal timing for me of when I want to try to make a live bet. But into the second and third quarter, I'll mess around with as well. Yeah, I think you get into the fourth, you're not leaving yourself much runway to let the bet play out. We'll do that sometimes, but it's dependent on what the scenario is for teams advancing for things like the NBA Cup quarterfinal. So it would be a long way of saying Knicks or pass for me. I'll look to get in live. I think a Knicks team total over would probably be a good look too, as you brought up. They've been pretty much the best offense all season long. Karl Anthony Towns is just playing incredible basketball right now. OG Anunoby, career high in points right now. He's playing great. Of course, you got Jalen Brunson there. I believe Hart is questionable for this game tonight. Yeah, big questionable tag on him tonight. So that would be pretty important to make sure he's going to go as well. On the other side, though, Bogdanovich and Jalen Johnson both questionable for the Atlanta Hawks. I would expect everybody to end up going, but just something to be aware of as you're betting this game here.
Yeah, I'm seeing 122.5 team total there for the Knicks tonight. 237 your total. That has been one-way traffic to the over. Open 233.5. Pretty strong move there of 3.5 points. I mentioned one of the teams the Hawks beat, the Bucks. That was when the Bucks had won 7 straight and were absolutely red hot. Hawks went into Milwaukee and won the game outright.
You're right.
As far as game number 2 here, Kelly, it's a matchup we've seen a couple of times already, and it's the Rockets and the Warriors. Both times Houston and Golden State have faced off. The Warriors have been without Steph Curry. Both times Houston and Golden State have faced off. The Warriors have come away with a tight win. And now you go back to Houston here, where I was so prepared. I really wanted to bet Houston last week. Ultimately didn't get there just because we didn't know the status of Curry. Once the news comes out, line spikes towards Houston. Felt like it was too late, and boy, am I glad imagine if I had just kind of speculatively bet some early Houston prices around Pick'em, because that would have been a really frustrating loss there. With
you mean like exactly like I did, Ben? Exactly like I did, and got my teeth absolutely kicked in, just like Milwaukee last night. Yeah. Those are a couple big bets a couple weeks in a row that have been very tough to take. Yes, that was ugly last week. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, but we were on the same line of thinking, and I feel bad that you went through with it, and you made a good bet, and I didn't, and I regretted it at the time until the game actually happened.
Yeah, you know what?
That happens a lot.
Good bet or bad bet? I'll take the bet that ends up with money in my pocket, though, and that wasn't the case.
Very
add
true.
on this game. I think it's up to 16 now. Warriors have beaten the Rockets 16 straight times. This is a streak that goes back to 2021. Just one of the more random streaks that's out there in the NBA. Look, everything I'm looking at would point Houston away from me. They're 6-4 their last 10, plus 5.4 net rating outside of garbage time minute. Golden State Warriors after that quick start have slowed down a bit, 4-7 their last 11, minus 1.2 net outside of garbage time minute. Where I am looking in this game, though, Ben, is at the total. I am on the under already. I'm on the under at a worse number. I got 222 yesterday and bet it. 223.5 is what we're showing right now. I think it's a good bet. You talk about over that same time period, you're talking about a Golden State Warriors offense that is ranked 28th in the NBA. Houston, middle of the row, but you're talking about 2 top 5 defenses at the same time. So it would be a lean to the Houston side for me. Not going to play that, though. I am playing the under. Also, injuries in this game to be aware of. Alperen Sengun popped up yesterday on the injury report, questionable. They've got a couple guys questionable. Does look like Tari Eason's going to go, though. He will be big to get him back in the lineup. So more injuries to monitor. We did bring this up yesterday. Kind of glad we brought it up because I didn't know how much to make of that illness stuff that was going on in Dallas. We don't really know. Maybe that affected them more, like I kind of hinted at, than we really saw play out. But P.J. Washington ended up missing that game yesterday. So I think initial reaction from people like me when you're seeing names on an injury report for an NBA Cup game is, okay, they're all going to play. It's the NBA Cup. At least means a little bit more than a regular season game. But some of these questionable tags you still got to be careful with, especially with players as important as Sengun are. So monitor that throughout the day here.
I have not bet this yet. I want to wait, and as we've tended to see, the general thought is, Golden State, they've owned Houston in the series. You're banking on, and Nick Whalen made a very good point on the show yesterday about the infrastructure that Golden State has in a game like this that you tend to feel comfortable in. But I'm just going to wait here. I mean, we're down to 1.5 at a couple books. Money lines now in the minus 122, 125 range. were this to keep dropping, if we get down near like a pick'em 1 and I get a super cheap money line, it would be a small play for me on Houston tonight. 15 straight, by the way, Kelly. It has not been 15? Since COVID. Okay. See, last time was pre-COVID bubble. February 2020, the last time Houston beat Golden State. That is wild.
That's nuts.
As we sit in 2024.
That is
but
absolutely
just based on number, and you're right. I mean, Houston has just been at an unreal level defensively under head coach Ime Udoka last 15 or so games against a Golden State offense trending in the wrong direction. It's one that numbers-wise would really tend you to believe Houston should be the side, but they have struggled so much in this specific matchup. If I get a discount, if I get a cheap money line, that's what I'm waiting on here. More Golden State game day money, which I kind of think will happen. Continues to come in throughout the day. That's 1 hour down for us here on A Numbers Game. When we return, Jonathan Von Tobel gives his thoughts on the NBA Cup for tonight. Also some college football playoff early bets as well.
Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard share their knowledge of sports, gambling, and pop culture.